everyone, my name is Savina Francisco. I'm a fantasy wildlife artist, and in this video I'm going to show you a quick and easy trick for sharpening some of the hardest to sharpen pencils, including pastel pencils, colored pencils, charcoal pencils, and carbon pencils. Okay, first of all, when people typically first start trying to sharpen either pastel pencils or charcoal pencils, anything like that, or even colored pencils, typically they'll start off by trying to use regular pencil sharpeners, either hand pencil sharpeners or the electric sharpeners. What they'll very quickly find is that either one of those sharpeners tend to do one of two things. They either will lock up, they'll either get blocked with the material, or they will get dull over time and they will start to chew up the material of the pencil and just basically break the pencil. So if you're going to use that method, then you're going to have to replace your sharpener all the time, really often. Another thing that people will do is they'll use sandpaper. The problem with sandpaper is that, number one, it does get dull over time, but the real trouble with sandpaper is that it's hard to get rid of it's hard to sandpaper off the actual wood portion of the pencil, number one, and number two, it's hard to get a really, really sharp point with regular sandpaper. You can get the sand blocks. They're actually used for drywall. You can get that at your local hardware store, and that's one way to do it, and that's definitely a lot better than the sandpaper, but it still takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. Another thing that people do is that sometimes they'll use a knife or an X-Acto or something like that, X-Acto blade or razor blade or a knife to cut away. And once you get really good at that, then you can do that pretty quickly, but it still takes time, and it takes a long time before you actually get good at that. So that's another thing that takes a lot of effort. So what I found is the easiest way that I have found to sharpen these pencils is actually with a Dremel. It's the hand tool, the Dremel, and it's just using the regular sandpaper sander on it. On its lowest setting, and I'll show you there's actually a trick for getting a really sharp point to it, and it took me a while to actually figure out this trick, but it's really easy to do, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. But just really quickly, the other thing that works too, it's basically a Dremel, but it's a lower power Dremel, is if you have one of those Petty Paws like cat and dog grooming tools, you can use that also, and it does the same thing. So let me go ahead and get started, and I will show you how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a pastel pencil. It's a white pastel pencil, and I'll show you how to do it. You want to put the Dremel on its lowest setting. I'm going to explain this actually before I turn on the Dremel, because I don't know if the Dremel is going to drown me out once I do it, but you want to put the Dremel on its lowest setting, and then you want to watch really closely. I'll try to get as close as I can to the camera without it going blurry. But what you want to do is you want to very gently turn the pencil like this. But you don't want to sit there doing this to it, or you will not get, which is what I did for a while. It took me a while before I realized not to do this. You don't want to go around like that. You actually want to take it and you want to hold it and do this kind of motion with it, where you're just rolling it in your fingers basically from right to left. Okay, so you'll see me doing this, and I'll do it with a couple of different pencils so that you can see. Also, first what you want to do, first what you want to do is you want to take off and you want to expose a good portion of the wood. You want to take a good portion of the wood off of the material so that about half an inch, third of an inch is showing. So there should be a lot of material there for you to work with before you start to sharpen the pencil. Okay. So that should do it. All right, so that should do it. So you should have about that much of the material showing. You can have a little bit more if you want. You don't need to. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rolling it across the sandpaper, and you want to keep it even also. There you go. So now normally what I would do is I would taper the entire end. I'm not going to spend the whole time here doing that because I want to use a couple of different pencils. But normally what you can do is you can really taper it, because with pastel pencils, you know, you push the material a lot, and so you want to have a really super tapered end. So you would just basically keep doing that until you get the full taper. I guess I will go ahead and do it and show you, since I'm here. And then if you want to get more of a taper, you can just expose more of the wood. But as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but get a super, super sharp point with it. You can do the same thing, works the same way with any of these softer materials. So I don't know if you can see that because it's black. So it's the same with any of those softer materials. Now, with colored pencils are obviously made of a different kind of material than pastel or charcoal, but it also works with colored pencils as well. The ones that I'm using this on right now are the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. So they are, they're oil-based, but it should work just fine with the wax base also. In fact, it might even work a little bit better with the wax base, you know. As you can see. It's very quick. It's very easy. And gets you a super, super sharp. Again, I'm not going to do the entire pencil for you so that you can see a really long, sharp edge, but you can do that. You can make it, all you need to do that is just expose more of the wood. So I keep saying I'm not going to do that, and then I do it. So I guess I am going to show you guys how to do a long taper. May as well, while I'm at it. But you can see, you can get a super duper sharp point and a super sharp taper to it. You just need to work it a little bit. So, all right, so hopefully you found that helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any future videos. Thanks so much. Bye.